Why did a Facebook post by Ching spark backlash from historians, academics, and even artists? On the 26th of June 2025, Ching, former CEO of Temasek and wife of ex-Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, posted a strong message on Facebook. In it, she insisted that the founding of modern Singapore began in 1819 with the arrival of Sir Stamford Raffles. She cautioned Singaporeans not to fall into what she called an anti-colonial fervor by trying to rewrite history and trace Singapore's origins further back to the 1300s and the time of Sang Nila Utama. Ho argued that earlier references to Temasek in Majapahit and Yuan dynasty records were vague and inconsistent, and she claimed there was no evidence of a large or stable settlement before colonial times. She said archaeological finds, like Chinese pottery or remains at Fort Canning, weren't proof of a proper city. In her words, Singapore was more like a refugee pit stop for defeated nobles from empires like Malacca, Johor, or Siam. It was only when Raffles arrived with the power of guns or the power of contracts, she said, that Singapore became what it is today, a free port with global ambitions. But Ho's post didn't go unchallenged. Professor Donald Lowe, a respected academic, pointed out that no one in Singapore is actually trying to erase colonial history or pull down statues like in other former colonies. He asked, who exactly is Ho warning against? Most people questioning the Raffles narrative are serious historians, not activists or radicals. And if anything, Singapore's education system barely touches on anti-colonial thought. He warned that Ho's posts could stir up cultural divides where there were none before, and joked that ChatGPT once named her the most divisive Singaporean influencer on Facebook. Media professor Cherian added that Singapore's 700-year history shouldn't be dismissed so easily. He said the pre-colonial past shows how interconnected and multicultural Southeast Asia already was, long before European powers arrived. George warned that colonialism actually restricted diversity by drawing hard borders and dividing people into racial groups. So why, he asked, would anyone want to erase this earlier, richer story? Graphic novelist Sonny Liu also jumped into the debate. He said it was ironic that Ho Ching now seems to reject the 700-year narrative, because it was the state itself that once supported it. Historians like Tan Tai Yong had been part of that effort, especially during SG50 celebrations. Liu suggested that these shifting narratives reflect changing political needs, not history itself. Online, many netizens also spoke up. Some reminded others that Singapore was once part of the larger Malay world, Tanah Melayu, and under the Johor Riau Sultanate before Raffles came. They noted the presence of local rulers, population, and even early maps made by the Portuguese. Just because there weren't giant temples like Angkor Wat doesn't mean ancient Singapore was insignificant. Trade, diplomacy, and migration were the lifeblood of Southeast Asian civilizations. One netizen put it sharply, Raffles didn't land on an empty island. He negotiated with local Malay leaders. Singapore was already inhabited. Another person called out Ho's focus on anti-colonialism, saying it caused her to overlook the deep value of our regional roots. Some even suggested she revisit the very museum exhibitions her government once funded. This whole saga raises an important question for all of us. Should our national story begin with the British? Or should it go back further, to the kings, traders, and sailors who shaped this island long before 1819? And what do you think? Is Singapore's identity rooted in colonial progress, or does it stretch back centuries through Malay, Chinese, and regional ties? If you find this interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, 2230.